Terminator 2: Judgment Day. The most spectacular film ever created.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where it's Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Keep going.
It's Judgment Day's upon us. It's 1997. There's a big nuclear bomb.
I'm swept away, James, by this movie.
It speaks so well to that original theme from the 80s, where you're able to make this huge orchestral number.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't think that it would necessarily lend itself to that, you know, initially, but my goodness.
But as we know from last week, it's also versatile. It's got a sexy time version.
That's true.
You know, there should have been a fun at the mall version. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, you know?
Yeah.
I'm John Connor. I'm playing Missile Command. Do-do-do-do-do.
I'm a redhead kid. I'm lying to a cop. What a legend that kid is, though.
Right?
Just casually saves humanity. No, I don't know him, man.
Yeah,
sorry.
True savior of the universe. Exactly, yeah. That's what you want in a true friend.
That's right, yeah.
Ginger mullet kid to have our back.
Listen, in all seriousness, you don't have to tell the cops goddamn anything.
Right.
At any point, all right? Ask for a lawyer.
That'd be James Cameron's advice. He's not a fan of cops,
No,
clearly.
he's not. He's absolutely not.
That is why the T-1000 is based on a cop, right?
Because he can go anywhere and do anything. That is 100% true. Anyways, please leave a like on this video because, of course, one of the biggest action blockbusters of all time, the most expensive movie ever made when it came out.
That's right.
Now, of course, the twist in this, which we are going to spoil.
Get down. Oh, shit!
Was not initially revealed in the teaser trailer. They gave Stan Winston $150,000 to make something that indicated that, yes, the Terminator was coming back. And we got this assembly line making
I remember that,
of
yeah.
the T-800. Why don't they do this anymore? You know? Teasers like this.
Okay, but the full trailer did
They
reveal.
did spoil it, yes, I acknowledge that.
In fact, I think that the trailer was like, now there are two Terminator 2.
One's a liquid guy, he's the bad one.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's good now.
He was bad in the other one.
And I understand, like, obviously, they've built this incredible new technology. They started on the Abyss.
Yes.
And then they've sort of, revamped it and improved it for this. Obviously, you want to draw people in, and it worked. You want to show people this technology in the trailer to get them in. But man, if they didn't do it, because again...
Show someone this, by the way. Someone who doesn't know, show them the first one and then show them this one.
Because again, it starts out almost exactly like the first one, and just to turn it around so quickly. You know, there's the moment where the T-1000, he's transported to the present day, and then the cop comes to look at the electrical disturbance. It just looks like the T-1000's giving him a gut punch or whatever, but in retrospect, you're like, oh no, he
stabbed that man.
He stabbed that guy through the heart.
And he's so personable, like when he goes to John Connor's house.
Well, that's interesting as well, because I think in retrospect, when we look back on these movies, and I think also because Robert Patrick did a version of this in other media, like he did it in a Wayne's World movie.
Yes.
And he did
it in Last Action Hero.
Yeah, like I think we think back about this character like, oh, he's so unfeeling and
sinister.
But the initial appearance of this guy when he goes to the foster parents, when he's talking to the kids at the mall, you know, etc. He's really genial, and you're like, oh, like if I didn't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because he doesn't do that when he's not around people. Like you see him switch it on.
Yeah.
It's incredible. What an amazing performance. What an amazing find. Because James Cameron, of course, wanted somebody unknown, but he wasn't the first choice.
Oh.
Was it T-1000?
Was it Lance Henriksen again?
No, Mason. He died in the first movie.
Yeah, but still.
Remember?
Yeah.
He got machine gunned.
Yeah, but Skynet doesn't have all the files.
No.
So maybe they'd be like, maybe he lived.
Yeah, maybe he lived. So the original idea for this was to send back two Terminators, and they were both Arnold. So it was Arnold v. Arnold, then the good Arnold wins, and then as a last-ditch effort, they send back this experimental liquid metal one.
Okay. When did Double Impact come out, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie?
That's a great question.
Isn't it, though? I can't remember.
Here's the year. It's big on the screen.
That's great.
Then it was thought, look, we'll just scrap that idea. We'll just go with the T-1000 version. And it was going to be the return of Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
They flip it even more, where Kyle Reese is the face of the villain this time around. That also wouldn't really work either, because that would mean Skynet knows who he is, because as far as they know, he's just one of many soldiers. They would have targeted him specifically in the future if they thought he was important.
That's true. I mean, I don't hate the idea of it, and I think that would add an interesting element to this, because Sarah Connor has seen him die, and then he returns, and then she'd be like,
absolutely.
Has she gone off the deep end kind of thing, which is, you know, an element to this where everybody's trying to convince her she's crazy, even though she's right.
Oh my God. I love that element of this movie where, first of all, her character development, what a performance. And the muscles, the bad dreams that she's having. The range that she displays in this is incredible. And like you mentioned, she's right. And there are people that know she's right and are just letting her rot in jail. Amazing. And of course, Linda Hamilton's twin sister is in this. The extended version, which is the one that we watched.
There's a couple of twins in this, right?
Oh yeah, there is. There's the two guys from Gremlins 2, I believe. One stabs the other through the eye.
Yes.
And Linda Hamilton's twin sister, who has since passed away. Yeah, I mean, it's such a good and cheap way to do an effect.
Yep.
If you've just got two of the same people. Well, it's not an effect. You could it's just two people.
See also Xander and Buffy brought his twin brother in.
Oh yeah.
Who
the
else?
Ashmores.
The Ashmores. Have they ever played twins in a thing?
That's a great question.
I think they're against it.
They're against it.
Sure.
Well, maybe they're just waiting for the right role.
Hey, can I get a role in Quantum Break? No. Only I may be in the game Quantum Break. Other Ashmore.
And this Terminator movie also has my favorite version of John Connor, the guy from the future.
The guy who doesn't get any lines?
His name's Michael Edwards. He has actually reprised the role of John Connor in a fan film called Skynet, a Terminator fan film, which is set many, many years after the war.
Is it set in the peaceful future where he's wearing a tucked-in salmon-coloured sweater?
No, Mason, that's only in the extended version,
We
Mason.
did watch the extended version, so he in the original version he only gets the one scene, post-apocalyptic 2029. He's got the scar on his face, but then in the extended version we see the war has been averted and he's playing with his daughter on the playground.
There's some pretty horrendous old Sarah Connor makeup going on.
And some very horrendous future fashion.
Oh yeah, it seems like the Back to the Future 2 future. That's what they've stumbled into.
Just headbands and jumpsuits all the way down the line.
I like to, and I am jumping to the end, the ambiguity of this ending, and it's not an ending because these movies will go forever, that it is very much up in the air. And it's just, and I know you like this, it's just this ongoing time war. It just goes and goes. And I also like the idea that the reason that all the John Connors look different is because they're all different sperm.
Sure.
So
why are you always thinking about sperm when you're watching these movies?
Because the idea that if you came back and shoved somebody, it would change everything.
That's true. And every time you go back in time and you shake it about in different manners,
you're going to get a different sperm.
That's true. But I also love the idea because obviously in the first Terminator movie, they only have time to send back one Terminator and one Resistance fighter.
Yeah.
And they've sort of retconned it slightly here. So it's like, well, actually, there was another room. There was room for another Terminator and an additional T-800. I love the idea that this time frame keeps getting retconned. Now,
and there's more and more rooms.
There's more and more rooms, and it's a long weekend now. And
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, actually, the original opening for this that they didn't film but did storyboard was going to be the intro to Terminator 1, and then they find the second room. They find that one of the T-800s has been off the shelf.
That's in the novel.
It's in the novel, exactly. And also, they did it in Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Until Matt Smith showed up and changed all the sperm. It's Matt Smith.
With his sperm-changing ray gun.
Love all of that. But yeah, the John Connor they got here is played by Edward Furlong. I think he's a good find. I think there's an amateur kind of element to some of the line readings, but that's also because a lot of this movie is ADR'd as well.
Yeah.
And it's very noticeable on him. But I like the kind of attitude that he brings to this.
Same.
I know his father wasn't around when he was cast. He wasn't an actor. Like James Cameron was looking for somebody who was just kind of a rotten kid, you know? And I'm not saying he's a rotten kid, but I'm saying there is that attitude there, you know? And not just the hasta la vista and the slang. That stuff is very cringe, Mason.
Did Edward Furlong hold him up at an ATM or something?
That's right.
Hey, old man, give me all your money. Oh, you got something, kid.
And I do have a lot of money.
I have submarine money.
That's right, he does, doesn't he? Or maybe not at this point.
No. I have multiple divorces money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the T-800 returns in this. And what I like about the return of Arnold is that he's outdated.
Yeah.
And there is this tension of like, fuck, this guy's getting whittled away through this movie, you know?
One of the things that I appreciate about this movie is, on the larger scale, that when the T-800 and the T-1000 fight, they're just silent killers.
Yeah.
There's no quips, there's no nothing. They're not playing for an audience, they're just trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
So it's just deathly silence.
They're also of the same technology.
Yeah.
So obviously one's just more advanced than the other. Yeah.
But I also love the idea that the T-800 knows he's not going anywhere after this, so it doesn't bother him at all that all his pieces are coming off.
No.
You know, when he has to reveal to Miles Dyson that he is a Terminator, he just whips all the skin off his arm and then he just puts a glove over the top.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not going to need any of that skin later. Who cares?
Exactly, yeah. That first confrontation they have in the hallway just coming to a head. The Pepsi can guy just gets obliterated in the process.
Right.
Just happened to be there. But the way that they were kind of built was that the T-800 is like a tank. He's like a Sherman tank. There's no bells and whistles to him. He's just like a battering ram. And the T-1000 is like a Porsche. He's probably not as strong because he
I was going to say he's a young Sherman
yes.
tank. That's the name of the sitcom, right? Young
Yeah,
Sherman?
Young Sherman tank. He doesn't have the mass and like that metal skeleton. But, you know, he can do a thing where if you punch him in the head, he'll morph his arm around and whatever. Oh, great stuff. We've got to talk about the special effects in this. But the only conversation those two have is when they're on the phone pretending to be other people.
Yes,
I love that. And then, of course, that first chase sequence down the canal. Just incredible. Like, my God. Unbelievable stuff. Real truck crash.
Does that canal ever have water in it?
Why would it need water?
It's a great point.
It's good for bikes.
It is good for bikes, that's true, yeah.
It's where they have the race in Greece, probably, Mason. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's a similar
it's
situation.
It's where Buckaroo Banzai and all his friends walk in, right?
That's true.
They have a little strut down in the canal, right?
Oh, I love all of that.
That's a real truck crash, but if I remember correctly, when Arnold or his stunt double motorcycle jumped down, that's on wires, right?
It is. I mean, it just basically takes the heavy landing out of it. But yeah, that's a real jump. So the T-1000, the idea of that was actually in the original Terminator, and it was thought by James Cameron, or we could do like a claymation version of this, which is also...
Like Clay Fighter.
Like Clay Fighter, which was also considered for the Abyss. We have talked about the Abyss, like that water face. Like, can you project something onto a claymation kind of... And I'm glad they kind of waited to do this. There's actually only 42 CGI shots in this entire movie.
But we remember all of them.
Oh, just incredible. And you know what I think really sells it? I mean, there's a number of things, but the reflections on it are so good.
Yeah. I think also they get better towards the end. I think
Yes.
the money is being spent very well here. They're like, okay, we need this to be completely and totally convincing towards the end. Like when he emerges from the truck, or when he regenerates from the liquid nitrogen explosion, and you see all the fire reflected in him is reforming. That looks incredible.
Unbelievable.
You know?
It's never been done better, except for the movie Terminator Genesis with the T-1000.
That's right.
God, that's a good movie, isn't it?
No. No, I don't think it is.
You know what else?
It had potential. That's all I'm saying.
It did. Well, James Cameron liked it, or said he liked it.
Yeah.
If you like the Terminator films,
I'll be back.
you're going to love this movie.
What I find interesting about the T-1000 is also the lore behind it, which isn't really in the movie, but just that he's a bit of a loose unit. He's one of a kind.
Yes,
Skynet.
Also, he's got a swelled head about it.
He might just.
You're going to time travel me first class, right?
That's right. Skynet didn't want to send him. They'd lost the war, and it was a last-ditch effort. But they didn't want to send him also because if they put something like this back in time, what does he evolve into if you just leave something like that by itself?
Oh, right.
They didn't even know what he was going to do, really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where are you getting this
This
lore
is
from?
all like behind the scenes and book stuff and whatever.
Okay.
He also initially went back in a flesh sack because, you know, there's that question of if he's made of metal, how does he time travel?
He just does. He's the bad guy.
He
It's
just
fine.
does, all right? Yeah. His skin can mimic enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But look, special effects. There is a lot of traditional filmmaking techniques in this. There's stuff in this which has been used in the first Terminator. There's stop motion in the future sequence. There's a rear projection of some Terminators walking in the background. Those are stop motion, and the foreground ones are like the puppeteered ones, right?
Yeah.
There's things like that. There's a lot of rear projection in this movie, and there's obvious stuff like when they escape the psychiatric hospital, it looks pretty obvious it's rear projection when, you know, Sarah Connor's checking John Connor. But the one shot that I never noticed, it's where Arnold lifts Edward Furlong off the bike.
Oh, yep.
That's rear projection, and it's so quick, and it's in broad daylight. I never spotted it. I just think that's incredible.
Pretty good.
Anyway, the digital stuff.
Yeah. The meat of it. Again, every moment of that, like you said, is only 40-something shots, but every single one of those from the initial, the bullet holes sealing themselves up on the T-1000, the moment where the T-1000 pushes the spike through the elevated doors and then turns it into, like, hooks to pull the door open.
That's actually, I think, it's got my favorite line and moment in this movie. My new favorite moment, I guess, because I'd never noticed it before. When the door opens and Arnold, like, blasts his head and it splits apart, Sarah Connor just goes, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, she's seen so much stuff, but even her at this point is just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Somebody explain
I thought honestly, I thought I was on top of all this crazy stuff.
But also, I should point out, a lot of the T-1000 stuff is practical. The exploding head is a practical head pulling apart. The squibs are designed to kind of balloon out to look like liquid metal.
If I remember correctly, the moment where he has been frozen by the liquid nitrogen, his arm and leg comes off.
That's real,
That is a person with who's an amputee.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
And the moment in the psychiatric hospital where the checkerboard floor comes up and turns into a man, that was just a very flat man. Right?
My personal favorite T-1000 moments.
Oh, mine's the checkerboard floor.
Well, that's good too. But the bit where he turds out of the elevator roof, or when he turds into the helicopter.
Sure.
I just like him turning into something.
Is that a verb now, is it?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously a big point of this movie, which was going to be done in the first, but they carried over here, was stop the war, stop the future war, destroy the bits of the Terminator that were left over from the first movie and shut down Cyberdyne and all of that. Well, we got to do it. Mason's minigun minute. Here we go.
Incredible. It's the classic minigun, obviously. It's the same one for Predator.
He's told not to kill anybody.
That's true.
Is that a problem for you?
Yeah, it gets 0 out of 10 because he doesn't kill anybody. But
0.0 casualties, if I recall correctly.
That's right, yeah. Anyway, and 0.0 out of 10. But man, it's. I mean, I think the rate of fire is probably a little slow for that.
They slowed it down.
Yeah.
They slowed the sound effect down.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a buzz.
But I mean, that is the nature of a minigun in Hollywood. Because realistically, you'd get 1 second of firing out of that, and it'd be out of bullets. So.
Yeah. You're probably right, yeah.
No, but that's cool. It's cool as hell.
It's cool as hell. The cool as hell bit as well, when Arnold walks down the corridor, it does cut to a puppet head you see a few times when the squibs are going off on the face.
Yeah.
And he shoots that dude in the back with a gas canister. Just unnecessarily cruel.
Yeah.
And also, what's amazing about...
I mean, if I may, just the moment where he just... They all take shots at him, and then they're pausing to reload, and he just kneecaps all of them. It's so funny.
It is. And also, because they all lived...
Yeah.
How do you explain that? How do you live with that moment for the rest of your life?
They're all being interviewed by the chief, and he's like, "Did you miss him? No, we shot him hundreds of times."
Yeah, here's a new segment of the show.
Go on.
It's called Meso owes Robert Patrick a $1.
Oh, why is this?
We watched this years ago.
Oh, is it the 3-arm thing?
It's the 3-arm thing.
Okay.
And I said I'd heard that there's a few shots where you can see the T-1000 using 3 arms. So he's shooting with some and using a 3rd arm to steer the helicopter.
Yeah, because you need 2 hands to operate a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
So he's doing that and he's got 1 hand out with a gun. And I was like, that seems insane.
Yes.
But you're right. But is that...
No, but you said
yes.
If that happens in the movie, that you would send Robert Patrick a $1.
Then I guess I'm going to. That's
He's not
fair.
on Cameo. You're going to have to figure it out.
I'll figure it out. He's on Instagram. I'll send him $1. Or I'll send $1 to his charity of his choice.
Great.
In fairness, that sounds insane. And you'd think they'd make a bigger deal
They
of it.
don't.
Yeah.
I never noticed it.
Is this only in the extended version, though?
No, I don't think so. You can see snippets of it in
Regardless,
the
I'm a man of my word.
Yeah,
so
but we watched it on like VHS taped off the TV or whatever. Like, I'm still surprised by all the swearing in this because the version that I watched again and again was the version that was taped off TV.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it all culminates in the final sequence in the big steel mill, which is actually super cold. They just made it look super hot.
Oh.
That's crazy. I mean, the bit where the Terminator stands on the front of the truck and just empties a machine gun into the T-1000 is great. The truck flips. That's a miniature truck as it flips. It cuts between a real truck and a miniature one and then a real one again. And then, of course, the bit where he shoots him or whatever and he breaks apart. In the extended version, that's when he starts to malfunction.
Yes,
Which I think is really interesting.
And I understand why they probably cut out some of those malfunctioning moments because I don't think it's 100% convincing.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Whereas
that.
the rest of it absolutely is.
That handshake one he does is really good.
His hands start to replicate the hazard tape on a banister or a gantry and then he shakes it out. Yeah, that's a bit of fun.
That bit when they have that punch up and he hits the wall and he reverses.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And when Arnold splits him with the crowbar.
Yeah, right.
God.
Yeah.
And then Sarah Connor's racking the shotgun and you think, oh, well, she's going to be the one to destroy the Terminator because it's Sarah Connor and then she runs out of bullets. Then you're like, why don't you just tackle him into the fucking lava or whatever? God.
There's, of course, the moment where the T-1000...
I'm just naming things
that
I know,
right? It's one of those videos, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
The moment where the T-1000 pins Arnold to the floor with a big spike. There is a moment, having rewatched this movie, 100 times, where you're like, surely he would utterly destroy Arnie at this point.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't just leave him to return at the end. But then you think, well, okay, first of all, the T-1000, you know, he's malfunctioning at this point.
Yeah.
He's not right of mind.
Yeah.
And you might be like, well, how does he not know that Arnold has a backup power supply? You know, whatever. But then I'm like, well, I mean, Arnold returns to life using the ultimate power supply, the power of friendship.
The power of friendship. Yo!
That's right, exactly.
And the T-1000 doesn't know anything about that, does he? He's a diva. You know, he doesn't know true friendship.
No, he really doesn't, and he probably never will.
Well, they got melted by that steel.
Yeah, he did big time. And then it's really sad because the Terminator has to be like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm dying big time. But also at that point, he's so fucked up where it's like, dude, you got to go.
Yeah.
You can't be walking around.
Yeah, we can't take you through an airport or at the movies or anything.
What are we
It'll
gonna-
heal up, will it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We're going to keep you in a box? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Also, shout out to Joe Morton as Miles Dyson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, got to be one of my favorite.
Guy breathing heavily before he dies.
Oh my God, some incredible work.
Iconic. Yeah.
Great stuff.
This is a good movie.
It is a good movie,
I
isn't
don't
it?
care what anybody says. Anyways, it's time for Trivia 2. Judgment Trivia.
Love that.
I don't know. I wrote Trivia 2, Trivia 2. I don't know. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, Mason. I think I need to see a doctor.
I think you do. I've been saying that.
Yeah, because my first bit of trivia just says piss cake. That's the
John Connor does say it. He's saying a piece of cake.
No, he says piss
He
cake.
does say piss cake. Yeah.
Piss cake.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was given a slightly used Gulfstream 3 aeroplane worth about $14 million by producer Mario Kaza for accepting a role in this film. A role of the Terminator.
But he also got paid money, right?
He got paid also $15 million for his 700 words that he spoke. I mean, he also did other acting.
He did a lot of other
Yeah.
acting. Yeah, he got very fit.
He did.
Yeah, they put out that cigar on him.
Did they?
Yeah, for real.
That's rude. Here's something that is rude. Linda Hamilton got $1 million.
That
which
is
I think
rude.
is...
Yeah. That would probably
I
explain
mean,
why.
it's a lot. It's a lot of money, obviously.
yeah.
Sigourney Weaver got $1 million for Aliens, but still.
I mean, she's putting in the hard yards in this
Mate,
movie.
yeah.
And that would probably explain her reluctance to come back from most of the sequels. Some of the sequels.
Yeah. I mean, she got that dark fake money now.
That's true. Oh, she got paid a lot for that, right?
Absolutely, she
Yeah,
did.
good.
Edward Furlong immediately got along with Arnold Schwarzenegger. As the actor had not grown up with a father figure, Linda Hamilton joked that she experienced excruciating moments as she was forced to listen to Arnold give Furlong advice about women, and stated they got along so well because they were emotionally the same age.
There you go.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Just breathe some cigar smoke into their face.
That's right.
They will fall in love.
When,
Also be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
If you can do that, you can do that.
it's easy.
Yeah.
He did it. Anyone can do it. When the team, they're a team.
Welcome to our team.
They break into Cyberdyne Systems. Sarah is wearing Kyle's grey trench coat from the first movie,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I
okay.
think is true. It looks like it anyway.
I mean, they had a trench coat on hand because in the extended edition there's
Oh yeah,
the dream sequence.
that's right. Michael Biehn, Mr. Bean, makes an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel Washington turned down the role of Miles Bennett Dyson. He said, "No offense to Jim Cameron, but when I read the script, I thought all he does is look scared and sweat. I had to pass." Yeah, fair enough. Good role though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relatable to the common man.
Completely
I'm
agree.
always staring and sweating.
Yep. There is a resistance soldier that you find in the game Terminator Resistance that looks like Robert Patrick. Now that game is canon in terms of the Terminator lore. I mean, it's all canon. Everything
Right.
Terminator related is canon because it's multiple fucked up timelines.
That is true. So what you're suggesting there is that the T-1000 was based
Yeah.
visually on this
On a bloke.
resistance soldier. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
It's in the game.
Okay.
And that's fun. Anyways, in terms of box office, on a budget of around $100 million, it was the most expensive movie of all time. It made $520 million, and that's on its initial release. It did huge numbers in terms of merchandise, like re-releases, special editions.
Mm-hmm.
You know that toy where you make the Arnold skin around the Terminator and then you can peel the skin off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, they sold a bunch of those probably.
Well, yeah, you could only use them all at once.
Yes,
To
that's
buy
true.
another one every time. Mom, I want to make the Terminator
Yeah,
again.
Terminator skin. Yeah, the opening titles of this alone was the same budget as the first Terminator.
Damn.
That's what we're talking about here. And also, there was actually going to be another Terminator 3 before the one that we got,
Okay.
where Edward Furlong was going to come back. James Cameron was going to be part of it. There was kind of a TX kind of style Terminator in it. This is a whole other thing we'll discuss in another video when we do more Terminator sequels. But yeah, it's worth looking into if you're interested in the real Terminator 3 or the
Oh,
original
hell yeah.
Terminator 3.
We're going to get one eventually.
Absolutely. But you know what I like seeing?
What's that?
I like seeing things at bigsandwich.co.
Good link.
For example,
good segue.
For example,
Go on.
These videos always go up there early. Here's a hint towards next week. But that's not the only thing there. It's not just early videos. Do you know what else there is?
There is bonus podcasts.
That's right.
There's movie commentaries.
Yep.
There's video game Let's Plays.
That's right. Now, speaking of, we have done bonus podcasts on a couple of Terminator comics, which are worth checking out.
Including RoboCop versus the Terminator.
That's right. We also played a bunch of Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 video games on our series that's exclusive there. Never go back. Anyways, if you do want to sign up, that helps support the show, keeps it ad-free. We really appreciate it, but of course you don't have to. You might just want to check out our podcast, The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday if you are interested. It's got its own YouTube channel, it's on Spotify, it's on other platforms, Apple, whatever.
I love that.
I love the Terminator.
Oh, you know what? The bit where the T-1000 just walks through the hospital, like the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, it just passes all the way
And
through. And his
that guy-
gun gets stuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that
And
moment.
that guy's like, what the freaking hell?
Yeah.
I said this shit wasn't real.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it. Crazy. Good movie. All right, thank you to Lawrence for the edit.
Thank you, Lawrence.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.